A very warm welcome to another deep dive. Today is a special one, actually.
It is. We're doing something a little different today.
Yeah, we are slowing things down just a little bit. We want to focus on you, our listeners who are learning English.
Exactly. But don't worry, we are definitely not going to read from a boring textbook.
No way. Never.
We are going to speak clearly and we'll avoid super complicated slang. But we are still tackling a massive, really exciting topic today.
We are talking about the machine that changed the whole world.
Cars.
Cars.
Yeah.
Vroom, vroom.
Automobiles, yeah.
We have a really fascinating stack of research to get through. We're looking at reports from Auto Tech Insight, some cultural analysis from Forbes India and Xinhua, and some really interesting historical theories from Reddit.
Yeah, it's a great mix of sources today.
And our mission for this deep dive is simple. We want to understand why cars have personalities and why the future of driving is going to be so very different from the past.
And along the way, we're going to highlight some essential English vocabulary for you, words that you will hear in business, in engineering, and just on the daily news.
So let's jump right in with a little thought experiment.
I love these.
Right. Okay. I want you, the listener, to close your eyes for a second. Imagine a supercar.
A really fast one.
Exactly. It is fast, it is expensive, it is loud. What color is it?
I am betting most people are seeing the color red.
Yeah, definitely red. And what brand is it?
Probably a Ferrari or maybe a Lamborghini.
Exactly, Ferrari. It is almost never a German car in that imagination.
Right.
And it is almost never an American car. Why is that? Why do we associate certain countries with very specific types of cars?
That is the big question. And to answer it, we have to look backward before we look forward.
Yeah, and I found a very compelling theory in our research stack about this. It actually popped up in a history discussion on Reddit, of all places.
Reddit can be great for that sort of thing.
It traces the quality of modern cars all the way back to World War II, specifically to the Axis powers.
Right. This is a really interesting historical observation from the sources. For those who might not know that term, the Axis powers were the countries that fought together during the Second World War.
Yeah.
So Germany, Japan, and Italy.
So the Reddit theory poses a really simple question. Why do so many of the world's absolute best car brands come from these three specific countries?
Well, the sources point out that it is not a coincidence at all. Think about the year 1945. The war ends.
Right.
These countries, Germany, Japan, Italy, were totally devastated. And crucially, they were given very strict rules by the winners.
Like what kind of rules?
Well, they were effectively banned from rebuilding their militaries.
Oh, I see. So they couldn't build tanks anymore.
Exactly. No tanks.
They couldn't build fighter jets.
No fighter jets. No massive military factories. But think about the people living there. These countries still had thousands of brilliant engineers.
Okay, an engineer is someone who designs and builds machines.
Right. People who knew exactly how to build complex, high-performance machines.
So, if you are a brilliant engineer in 1946 and you are not allowed to build a tank, what do?
You build a car.
Wow.
Yeah, all of that intense engineering focus, all that brain power was funneled directly into the car industry. It was basically the only outlet for their skills.
That makes so much sense when you think about it. It is like a powerful river being redirected.
It really is.
But the Reddit thread also mentioned an economic factor, right? It wasn't just about having smart engineers.
Right. Money was a huge problem. Post-war Germany and Japan did not have unlimited resources. They were poor at the time.
So they couldn't afford to be wasteful.
Exactly. They had to make machines that were efficient. They had to be smart with their materials.
Which means they needed to build things that worked perfectly and just didn't break. Because fixing broken things costs money.
Precisely. And this is exactly where we get the modern reputation for Japanese and German reliability.
Reliability. Okay, that is a key vocabulary word for today.
Yeah.
Reliability.
Yes.
It means you can completely trust something.
Yeah.
It works every single time.
Right. If your car is reliable, it starts every morning when you tune the key.
And if your friend is reliable, they show up when they say they will.
Great example. So history gave these countries a kind of head start with their engineers. But they didn't all build the same kind of car.
No, they didn't. They developed very different personalities.
They really did. And this is where the cultural comparison from the sources gets really fun. We have a great article here from Forbes India that breaks down the difference between Italy and Germany.
I loved reading this article. It basically argues that Italy is all about one word, emotion.
Emotion, feelings, passion.
Yes. The article suggests that Italian cars, like that red Ferrari we all imagined earlier, they are made for worship. not just for driving to the grocery store.
They are designed to be dramatic. Think about the sound of an Italian engine.
Oh, yeah.
It is like an opera singer. It is loud, it screams, it is beautiful. But, uh, is it practical?
Not at all. The article makes a really funny point about speed bumps.
Right. Italian supercars are so low to the ground that they scrape against everything.
Yeah, they cannot even go over a small speed bump in a parking lot without making a terrible scraping noise.
But the designers just don't care.
Why don't they care? That seems like a bad design.
Because they aren't building a tool. They are building art. The Ferrari CEO was actually quoted saying that Italy is full of small, specialized craftsmen. It's less like a big factory and more like an artist's studio.
Wow. Now let's contrast that with Germany. If Italy is emotion, what is Germany?
The key word here is engineering.
Engineering and precision.
Yes, precision. German cars, so think Mercedes, BMW, Audi. The article describes them as everyday luxury. They are very serious machines.
So if the Italian car is a wild artist, the German car is like a serious university professor.
That is a perfect analogy, yeah. When you get into a German car, everything just feels solid. You close the door, and it makes a heavy thunk sound.
It inspires confidence.
Exactly. You know it will get you to work safely, even if you were driving on the highway at 150 kilometers per hour.
But it maybe doesn't make your heart race the exact same way a loud red Ferrari does.
Right. It is a trade-off. You are trading passion for precision.
Okay, we can't leave out the other big players in the world. What about the United States? What is the personality of the American car?
Well, if you look at the history, American cars are really defined by comfort and size.
Big cars.
Huge cars. And if you think about the geography of America, it makes sense. It is a massive country with really long, straight highways.
So you need a car that feels comfortable, like a living room.
Exactly. The seats are huge, like big soft sofas. The suspension is soft. You can drive for 10 hours straight and not feel tired.
And historically, gas or petrol was very cheap in the U.S.
Right, so they didn't worry about efficiency at all, not until very recently. They just loved big engines, lots of horsepower, and big entertainment systems.
And finally, let's look at Japan. We mentioned earlier that they are famous for being reliable, but what is their specific character?
Japan is the absolute master of efficiency and space management.
I read about something in the sources called Kai cars, spelled K-E-I. What exactly are those?
Well, ki essentially means light or lightweight. In Japan, the cities are very crowded and the roads can be incredibly narrow.
Right.
So the government created a special category just for tiny cars.
How tiny are we talking?
Very small. Think of a tiny box on wheels. But the Japanese engineers are absolute geniuses at using space.
So it's bigger on the inside.
Exactly. You sit inside one, and it feels surprisingly roomy.
Yeah.
But on the outside, it is tiny. It fits anywhere.
So they're super practical.
Extremely practical. And that intense focus on efficiency is what led Japan to dominate the hybrid market, too.
Oh, like the Toyota Prius.
Yes, exactly like the Prius.
Yeah.
Mixing a traditional gas engine with an electric battery to save fuel, that is Japanese efficiency in a nutshell.
So just to recap the history lesson for our listeners, we have Italian emotion, German engineering, American comfort, and Japanese efficiency.
That's a perfect summary. But here's the twist.
A twist.
Yeah, that was the history.
Yeah.
The future. The future is going to look very, very different.
And that brings us to part 2 of our deep dive. The future is messy.
It is very messy.
We are looking at reports now from Xinhua and Auto Tech Insight. They're talking about the global shift to EVs. That stands for electric vehicles.
Right. And this is easily the biggest change in the car industry in 100 years. Specifically, in Europe, there is a massive plan underway.
What's the plan?
The European Union wants to effectively ban the sale of brand new gas-powered cars by the year 2035.
Wow, 2035. That sounds a little far away, but in the car business, that is basically tomorrow.
It is very close. Designing a car takes years. But there is a snag in the plan. A problem.
What's happening?
The big European car companies, the ones famous for that German engineering we just talked about, they are hitting the brakes.
Hitting the brakes. Okay, let's pause. That is a really good English idiom. It literally means to stop a car. But here it means they are trying to slow down the process.
Exactly. They were asking the government to slow down.
Why? Do people not want electric cars?
Well, it is complicated. The demand is softening, meaning people aren't buying them as fast as the governments hoped they would.
What are the main barriers? Why aren't you or I buying an electric car right now?
The sources point to two main things: price and charging.
Okay, let's talk about charging. That means plugging the car into a wall to get electricity, right?
Right. Now, if you have a house with a private garage, it is very easy. You just plug your car in at night, like a cell phone.
Sure.
But if you live in an apartment building in a crowded city like Paris or Rome, where do you plug it in?
Yeah, you cannot just run a super long wire out your apartment window down to the street.
Exactly. You'd trip everyone walking by. It is a really big problem for planning. And because sales are slowing down, big companies like Mercedes and Volkswagen are changing their strategies.
So they are saying maybe we will keep making our gas engines for a little bit longer.
Yes, the timeline is slipping. But they have another huge problem, don't they? The sources call it the China challenge.
This is huge. While Europe and America were busy debating about whether electric cars were good or bad, China was just building them.
Rapidly. And specifically, they were focusing on the single most important part of an electric car.
The battery.
Yes, the battery. The battery is the heart of an EV. And right now, China dominates the global battery market.
Right. There is a company mentioned in the report called COCO.
Yes, CATL. They're the biggest battery maker in the entire world.
So these European companies are in a really tough spot. They are being pushed by their own governments to go 100% electric, but their customers aren't buying enough cars yet. And the core technology they need is being dominated by China.
Exactly. It's a squeeze. They are very worried about losing good jobs and losing their status as the kings of the car world. It is a very tense time in the industry right now. We are just reporting what the sources say, but you can clearly see the stress from all sides.
It sounds really expensive, too, to change everything.
Incredibly expensive. Billions of dollars.
Speaking of expensive technology, let's look inside the car for a minute. We talked about the engines and the batteries, but the interior, the place where you sit, is changing just as fast.
Oh, absolutely. Let's open the door and sit in the driver's seat of a brand new 2026 model.
According to our source, Autotech Insight, the key word here is digital.
Digital, yes. Remember the old days you had buttons? Hard plastic buttons. You pressed a button to turn on the radio, click. You turned the physical knob to turn on the heat, click.
It was simple. You could do it without even looking down from the road.
Right, muscle memory.
Ah.
But now, all those physical buttons are disappearing.
What is replacing them?
They're being replaced by soft touch surfaces and massive screens.
Screens. Like a television.
Huge screens. Look at the Mercedes EQS, for example. They have something called a hyperscreen.
The hyperscreen. That sounds like something from a sci-fi movie.
It looks like one, too. It is basically one giant piece of glass that stretches across the entire dashboard, from the driver all the way to the passenger door.
That is a whole lot of glass.
It is basically a rolling computer at this point.
Mm.
And it is not just about looking at a map on a screen. You can actually talk to your car now.
I mean, to be fair, I shout at my car sometimes when traffic is really bad, but it doesn't listen to me.
Well, now it will answer you back. Car companies are integrating chatbots.
Chatbots. Like the AI on my laptop.
Exactly like that. Volkswagen is putting ChatGPT directly into their cars. And Mercedes is using Google's Gemini system.
So I can be driving along the highway and say, hey, car, tell me a funny fairy tale.
Yes. Or you could say, hey, car, find me a restaurant that serves sushi and is open right now, and then give me directions.
That sounds amazing.
It is cool. It's artificial intelligence, or AI, built right into the dashboard.
But, I feel like there is a catch. There's a problem here.
There's always a catch.
All of these huge screens and all of these smart AI chatbots, they require really powerful computers to run.
They certainly do. And computers need chips.
And just for our English learners, we do not mean potato chips here.
Sadly, no. No snacks. We are talking about semiconductors, silicon computer chips. They're the tiny little brains of any computer.
And our sources are warning about a massive shortage.
Yes, shortage. It's a great vocabulary word. A shortage means there is not enough of something. People want it, but it's gone.
And the reports say we are facing a massive chip shortage around the year 2026.
Right.
But why? Is it just because we are making too many cars?
No, it's actually because of the AI we just mentioned.
Oh.
Think about the giant tech companies. Microsoft, Google, OpenAI.
Okay.
They are building massive building-sized data centers to run their artificial intelligence programs.
And those huge data centers need computer chips.
Millions of them. They need the absolute best, fastest chips, and they are buying almost all of them.
So the car companies are basically stuck waiting in line behind Google.
Exactly. They are competing with the richest tech companies in the world for the exact same tiny parts.
Oh, wow. And when demand is really high but supply is really low, what happens to the price?
The price goes way up,
It skyrockets. The report says the price for these car computers could go up by 70 to 100%.
double the price.
That is going to make cars even more expensive for normal people to buy.
It is a very difficult situation for the industry. The car makers want to make high-tech cars because that's what attracts young customers.
Hmm.
But the parts to make them high-tech are becoming way too expensive.
This all feels very chaotic. We have the history changing, the technology changing, the prices are rising.
It is chaotic, and actually, there is a perfect business term for this exact situation. It was in our source from Neolink.
What's the word?
The word is VUCA.
VUCA, spelled VUCA. Is it an acronym where each letter stands for a word?
It is an acronym.
Hmm.
And it is a great word for our English learners to know because you will hear it a lot in business meetings these days.
Okay.
Let's break it down slowly.
Okay, let's do it. V.
V is for volatility.
Volatility. That comes from the word volatile, right? Like a chemical explosive.
Right. It means things change very fast and very violently,
Mm.
like the price of those computer chips suddenly jumping up 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That is volatility.
Yeah.
U is for uncertainty.
Uncertainty. That means we just don't know what will happen next. We're not certain.
Exactly. Will the European gas car ban actually happen in 2035? Will it be delayed 10 years? We don't know. That is uncertainty.
Makes sense. C is for complexity.
Complexity means things are very hard to understand. It is not simple anymore. A car is not just an engine and four wheels.
Right. It is software. It is giant batteries. It is global politics. It is computer chips.
Exactly. It is highly complex.
And finally, A.
A is for ambiguity.
Ambiguity. That means things are not clear, like looking through a thick fog.
Yes. It is hard to interpret the meaning of events. Who is winning the car war? Who is losing? It is ambiguous.
Wow. We really do live in a VUCA world.
We really do. And the car industry is the perfect example of a VUCA environment right now.
So how do they survive? How does a classic company like Ford or BMW survive in a crazy VUCA world?
Well, the Neolink report suggests they actually have to change their identity. They're trying to become tech companies.
So they aren't just bending metal and turning wrenches anymore. They are writing computer code.
Exactly. A modern car has millions and millions of lines of code. But becoming a tech company brings a brand new worry.
Like what?
Data privacy.
Ah, data privacy. Keeping my personal information safe.
Think about it. If your new car has cameras watching the road, microphones listening to you, and GPS tracking where you go,
It knows a lot about me.
it knows exactly where you go every day, it knows who you talk to on the phone, it knows what music you like, it might even know how much you weigh because the seat has weight sensors.
That is a little bit creepy.
It is a major concern. If car companies really want to be tech companies, they have to protect all that personal data from hackers.
It really is a double-edged sword. We get all these cool futuristic features, but we lose some of our privacy.
That is the trade-off of the modern digital world.
Wow, this is a lot to take in. It really seems like the era of just driving for fun is ending, and the era of computing has begun.
I think you are exactly right. The very definition of what a car is has changed permanently.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. Let's try to unpack and summarize what we've learned for our listeners.
Good idea. We started with history. We looked at the Axis powers theory.
Right. We learned that because Germany, Japan, and Italy couldn't build weapons after the war, they poured all their engineering talent into cars.
And that led to distinct national personalities. Italian emotion,
Mm.
German engineering,
Mm.
American comfort, and Japanese efficiency.
Then we looked at the present and the future. We talked about EVs or electric vehicles and the big challenges happening in Europe.
We discussed the China challenge regarding those giant batteries. And we explained why the transition to electric is actually happening a bit slower than expected.
Then we went inside the car to look at the digital interior, big screens, AI chatbots, and the massive shortage of computer chips that is causing prices to go up.
And finally, we learned the business acronym VUCA. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. Because the world is changing so fast.
That is a fantastic summary. You know, before we let our listeners go, I have one final, slightly philosophical question for you.
Okay, I am ready. Lay it on me.
We talked about cars becoming super digital. We talked about them having soft seats, massive screens, and eventually driving themselves.
Yes.
If a car completely drives itself and you are just sitting in the back watching a movie on a giant glass screen and talking to a chatbot, is it still a car?
Wow. That is a profound question.
Or is it just a moving living room?
Yeah, if you aren't driving, are you a driver? Or are you just a passenger inside a robot box?
Exactly.
It changes our relationship with the machine completely. That Italian emotion of driving, it might just disappear entirely.
It is definitely something to think about as you watch the cars go by on the street today.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope you learned some new facts about the auto industry and, more importantly, some useful English vocabulary.
Yes, keep practicing your English. Read about things you enjoy. That is absolutely the best way to learn.
We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.